What's going on, everybody? It's your boy C-Zar, and we are talking about Bitcoin today. Yes, we are doing a quick little analysis on this. Oh man, we're already up at 48K. Man, last I checked, we were at 47.7. Here we are making strides higher. If you missed the live stream yesterday, I talked about Bitcoin and my kind of expectations for the price. There are expectations now for the price to go up to 52.5 to 57K. These targets are very much at play right now. Now the thing is I'm not convinced that they're going to happen just yet. I wanted to see a close above the 886 if that was to happen. And I know for some of you, if you missed the live stream, this might come as a shock to you because I have been bearish on Bitcoin, right? I was bearish up here, right? I was kind of bearish like really throughout all this. I was saying that a drop was coming, and inevitably it did come. And then I was bullish down here. And then once we got up here again, I was bearish, right? But it continued upwards, and with the past like few days, I definitely thought once I saw this day that we'd go higher. I did not expect a move like this. So with how we've performed the past few days, I already admitted I was wrong. I did all that in my live stream yesterday. If you hadn't checked that out, go to that. I'm not going to go over all that right now. What I want to do is try to stick to the TA. So from high to low, the 1272 to the 1618 is our next kind of area of expectations. And I would very much be convinced that we're going there. I kind of am convinced that we're going there right now, especially with this look of the fibs. But what I want to see is a daily close above this 886, and we just don't have it. We closed right at it, so today could be the day. Obviously, if we get above this high, the possibility goes up as well. But really, what I want to see is another daily high close. If we can get that today, which it looks like we might, that would be really good to see. So. Let's actually look at this on some shorter term time frames. Actually, let's go to the weekly first. Looking at the weekly, there is some bearish divergence forming potentially, but it's forming. It's not confirmed until we have a red week. So it looks like this is a lower high, but as long as price keeps going up, that high could be taken out in the RSI, and it's no longer bearish divergence. This thing is crazy right now, guys. Crazy. Moving up a lot. Not a lot of volume for this week for this dramatic of a move. This is actually a 13.5% move. We haven't seen a week like that since all the way back here in October, and the volume was substantially higher than we've got now, right? And this was a breakout week, just like this looks to be a breakout week. So there is the possibility still. There's absolutely the possibility that we could find resistance in this area, form some kind of weird double top, and then pull back. We really could. Price targets below these lows are still possible. I just don't think they're as likely now as they once were. Before this week, essentially, the price targets that I've had laid out to like 34.9K, I thought that they were likely. Now, with this, that has changed. I do think we will still pull back. I do think that we will see prices lower than this before the halving, right? I think if you're patient, prices will come back a little bit. I'm just not convinced that we're going to pull back all the way down here. We might hold this 42.3K area. We might hold this 43.8K area, something like that. But I would expect that we go below 45K, probably even below 44K. At like the highest of a pullback that I would expect to see would be something like 44.75K, something like that, right? So just under 45K would be my personal expectation. But the possibility of going down, forming some kind of double top, and then going below this low is still there. If we were to see that, what you'd look for as a bear would be a close specifically below 42,568. Now I know that if you remember what I just said, you're like, you just said that it could go to 42,300 though. That's below this line. Yes, it could go there, but you need a daily close below there. If you don't have a daily, if the price goes below there, but you don't have a daily close below there, just like right now, right? You've got this 886 close, and the fib itself looks really strong, but you've got this 886. If I can get it, take this away. No, maybe I have to click down here. If you can close above this 886, that confirmation is all that I need to know that the price is likely going to break that 50K barrier, going up to 52.5, potentially even up to 57K. Genuinely, that's the realm of expectation. Bitcoin's kind of liking its 1414 lately, so maybe we see resistance at that 54K area, 55K area, but somewhere in between the orange line and the yellow line up here. But that's all dependent on if we find resistance on this 886 or not. And right now, it doesn't look like we are. we're moving up, but there's still 18 hours and 47 minutes left in this day. So let's just see how this day closes. There's not a lot of volume. We keep moving up, and there's just not a lot of volume, and that's okay. You know, I mean, if we have a dramatic like day to day and move up with some solid volume, that can deteriorate those worries. But looking at the 4 hour, there is bearish divergence presenting itself. It's not confirmed, right? We still have these green candles, so as long as these green candles are building, that can be decommissioned essentially. But you did top off at your 90 area. That's a pretty hot RSI, right? You haven't really cooled off. You do have bearish divergence presenting itself. I would expect, before going too much higher, that we do see at least some kind of pullback, you know, and maybe not to the areas that I'm looking for, between about like 42.5, I said 42.3 to like 44.7K, maybe not to those areas, but we could pull back to like 45, 44.8, at least 46.5K before moving higher, you know, something like that, just based off of what the 4 hours telling me. So let's see how this 4 hour closes. I am kind of anticipating that we do pull back from here, but how low will it go is the question, right? At the moment, I'm in the belief that we will form a higher low, wherever that is. It'll probably be above these highs here, right? So probably above 45K, we'll form a higher low and then continue to build. But if I'm wrong on that, if we continue to go down, especially if we break below this line, if we had some kind of significant bearish reversal from this week to answer with next week, that would very much put prices all the way at 34.9K to 31K back on the table. In my opinion, they're off the table right now. And you can call it flip-flopping, you can call it what it is. I call it seeing the facts in the charts and adjusting according to that, right? We can only react to the charts. You can predict all you want, and you can plan for those predictions, but if your predictions are wrong and you're just stuck in the mud, you're going to be left behind, man. So you have to adapt. You know, boo-hoo. I was wrong about it from turning around here, and like, you know, I definitely did expect that we'd pull back from here. I definitely did expect that we would move up from here, but I thought that was the top. I was expecting prices to go significantly lower, and here we are up here already. So can I be wrong? Can the price go all the way back down to the original targets that I was calling for? Sure, right? But we'll know well ahead of time if those targets are back on the table. And there's a lot of arguments out there for prices to still go down there. I'm just saying, in my opinion, my genuine opinion, prices below this low are not likely anymore. It's not that they're a 0% chance, but back here, in my opinion, they were likely. They had a more than 50% chance to be hit. Now they're not likely. Now it's less than 50% chance to be hit. In my head, you know, so I can be wrong. Can be right. Been right before, I'll be right again. Been wrong before, I will be wrong again. All I'm trying to say, man, is that I do think, all in all, we are probably getting ready to move up to that 52 to 57K area in a very short amount of time. But it's probably not going to be a straight line there. If it is there, cool. If it's a straight line there, cool. You know, whatever. But with how overbought we are on the 4 hour RSI, we're not really that overbought on the daily. Oh, here was something I was looking at earlier, actually, which is also crucial to these higher prices becoming likely, right? I wouldn't even say that those prices are necessarily likely, that 52K to 57K area is likely, but I would say they have a better chance than breaking below 38K at this point in time. From this high to this high right here, right, if you were to turn around today, you did get a little bit above it, but if you were to turn around today and get back below this line, that really would not look good. It's another lower high with a higher high here, like decreasing volume as you're moving up on the daily. Not necessarily a good look. So that could be some momentum for the bears. But again, even if that momentum comes to fruition, I'm not anticipating lower lows at this point. So nonetheless, let's see how this thing opens up the week. You know, we're about to come to an end on this week. We have 18 hours, 42 minutes left. Let's see how this week ends. If tomorrow, by the weekly close, we see this thing drop, like how much would it have to drop from its current price? I mean, really, probably to get me like excited for the downside, we'd have to move about 9% down today. Okay, We would have to move down 9%, maybe not today, but from where we are right now. And that's a pretty big move for Bitcoin. Is it possible? Sure. But if we can close the week at these levels as we have before, in the next 18 hours and 42 minutes, I would start to believe that prices below here are definitely on the table, and that the prices that we're discussing at 57 to 52K are still possible, but maybe not in the more immediate term, right? This is very strange behavior for Bitcoin, you guys. It's very, very strange behavior. Generally speaking, around the halving, you don't get moves like this. It's after the halving that you break out closer to your all-time highs. And I'll show you what I mean. Let's do this, because I know there's some of you out there that are like, that's silly. What are you talking about? The halving's the most bullish event ever. I do think it's a bullish event, but let's be real with ourselves, okay? I've done this in my last few videos. Top here to November 12th. November 2012. It was November 28th, 2012 that we had the last halving. So on a closing basis, we were from the all-time high at the time to the halving 60% of the way down. Okay, we moved up higher at first. Yes, we were like 51% at some point, but on the month of the halving, the monthly close, we were 60% away from the all-time high. The next halving was in July of 2016. On that monthly close, we were, is that right? Is that the right? Yeah. We were 49.7% away from the all-time high. Okay, is that the right high? Yes. Yes, it is. From this one, the last halving we had was in May 11th of 2020. We were 52%, 49.7, 60%, okay? All pretty significant. From the current all-time high to where we are now, we're at a less than 30% difference, okay? I would expect that prices are going to be lower than they are now by the halving, but I don't know if we're going to see this 50% or lower kind of thing that we've seen. You know, we might see something that is higher than we've ever seen, closer to the all-time highs than we've ever seen before, but I don't think it's going to be. And what's it matter what I think? But I don't think it's going to be 30% or less, right? If we continue to build here through the halving, by the halving, I mean, we could basically be at all-time highs by then, and that'd be really strange. That'd be out of pocket, very much not normal for Bitcoin. We're going off of 3 iterations, right? But still, I like to go. That's what technical analysis is. It's basing current events off of similar events we've seen in the past to help kind of predict an outcome statistically, right? I know there's those of you out there who talk about the ETF being the reason why, and maybe you're right. Maybe you're right, maybe not. Every ETF that's ever been approved for any commodity in America, whenever it first becomes a United States ETF, the first time we see those listings, it's not been good for the price. The best performing asset against a United States ETF coming out was gold. And even gold pulled back a month after. It pulled back after the listing. It pulled back a month after, and then it chilled for 9 months. It didn't break out until the 10th month. It chilled for 9 months. It was stagnant. It didn't move down that whole time, but it was stagnant. So we just had the ETF listed literally 4 weeks ago now, not even a month, okay? I would be very, very, very shocked if we're moving up because of the ETFs. People are going to say, but we have financial on-ramps now. You guys, the big institutional money, we like 4 out of 5 of the top banks, and I don't know if it's the same, I don't know if they've changed, but back in this time, 4 out of the 5 top banks in the world admitted that they had invested in Bitcoin in as early as 2017. 4 out of 5, okay? Institution of the top banks in the world, right? It doesn't get bigger than that, okay? I mean, well, I guess asset managers are bigger than banks, but the banks, who do the banks work for? Whose money do they manage? You know, if you're talking about the top banks in the world, you've got institutional money. We've had institutional money already, right? All those things, to me, it's not a good enough answer. The good enough answer to me is what we've seen historically. So as of right now, I am kind of skeptical as to how high we will be by the halving. Does that not mean that this month or even going into next month that we can't go higher? Absolutely, we could go to 57K. I just don't think that by the middle of April, we'll be there. I do expect that we'll be back at these prices, if not very likely lower. I just don't think that the original prices that I've been calling for the past month and a half are going to happen. At this moment, for what the charts are showing me, I have to oblige. I very much do believe that that low holds. That can change. Just like my opinion that we were going lower has changed because of this price action. If we get a significant reversal, the lows that I was calling for, the lower prices I was calling for around 34.9K, even down to 31K, they come back on the table. But for what we have, they're kind of off the table at this point in time. They're possible. They are possibilities, but they're no longer likelihoods. So I hope that all made sense. I hope I wasn't ranting too much. As of right now, you know, if there's like the main question, okay, cool, thank you for all that, but what's Bitcoin going to do right now? Let's look at the 4-hour again. Bearish divergence, presenting itself, not confirmed, but presenting itself. You hit the 90 level. If you were to go up from here, I doubt you're going to go up too much higher. Even if you take out this high, I doubt you're going to go up too much higher. I don't think you're making that move to 52.5K to 57K right now. I think likely what you'll do is you'll pull back maybe to that 45K, 44K area and then move up from there. But if you don't find support there and you go lower, that could look bad. That could start to bring some wind underneath the bear wings, man. But let's just see what it does. So to start the week off, I think we're going to be red. To close the week, we will probably be green. And if we don't close it green, maybe what we do is we chill. You know, maybe we chill or something like that, and then we get ready to move up higher, something like that. Chill at this area that we chilled at before, kind of in this area between like 46K to 47K. The lows down here were at 44.3K, so you know, anywhere and everywhere in between would kind of make sense to me. If we look at this relatively speaking from this low to this high, if this is the high, that's right at your 236, which isn't a common area to hold as support, but in stronger moves it is. So maybe you do hold that as support. Maybe you go all the way to your 382, which is this previous area of support here, and previous areas of resistance. Maybe you do go all the way to your 382. That's also a very common maneuver. But nonetheless, to open up the week, I very much do expect the price pulls back. I don't think this is done growing, but it might be put on pause for a second, right? Volume's dying off, okay? Volume's dying off. Bearish divergence is forming. 2 hours, 34 minutes from now, we'll have it more or less confirmed. One candle isn't enough to confirm it, but it's definitely not confirmed right now. And what I mean by it's not enough to confirm is if this candle's red, but then the next candle's green, that would kind of, it would just look like a little divot, right? Just like here, for example, right? You would have had like a double top, but you had a little divot instead. I guess that's not actually a good example. Let me see if I can find one. I don't know, man. I want to end the video, so I'm going to end the video. If you guys like the video, hit that like button, subscribe to see more. Bitcoin is doing crazy things right now, guys. It's very, very crazy. Good job to all the bulls. Good job to anybody who's been holding, who's been going long on this. I hope everybody is making money. My condolences to the bears. I feel your pain. I do. But if you're doing this right, you guys, you can be wrong and still make money. And you might hear that and you're like, what do you even mean? What's that even mean? How's that possible? For the experienced traders out there, for the experienced investors, you already know how it's possible. For the people who are new to this space, what I mean is you should have bags packed already, okay, for the end of the cycle. I do. I've had my bags packed for months now, man. Like half a year, and the last like major purchases I made were probably back in October, September. You know what I mean? Maybe later than that for like a couple altcoins, but most of my major purchases happened back in this accumulation phase. My last major purchases, right? Your bag should already be packed, and you shouldn't be playing with those bags. I expected the price to turn around here, and it did. I didn't sell anything, man. I haven't sold anything at all, because if I'm wrong, I can still make money and still be okay. If I'm right, cool. I get to add to those bags. I get to buy more. That's great. But if I'm wrong, we are way too early in the cycle to be playing games like that, right? You don't play games with your long-term holds. I very much believe by the end of the cycle, you guys, Bitcoin will be worth hundreds of thousands of dollars, multiple hundreds, potentially even $500,000 by the end of this cycle. Why would I play the game? I don't care. It's at 48,300 right now. I don't care if I thought this thing was going to 23,000. I'm not selling. I wouldn't. That's not smart, in my opinion, especially for the potential upside. That's what you do in these scenarios, is you add to it. If it comes down, it's a gift of a moment of a break, of a moment of opportunity to invest more and add to your bags to make more at the end of the cycle when the price is where we think it's going. And just to finish this video, actually, from top to bottom, I think we're going all the way up to the 2272. That's my personal opinion. At a minimum, the 1618. That's the minimum extension we've seen in Bitcoin's history throughout every cycle we've seen so far. The minimum extension would be $173.8 thousand. But every other cycle besides the last cycle, we've seen the 2272, a little bit above that. So a little bit above that is 500K. I think we're going there. 460 to 500K by the end of the cycle. Don't play games with that kind of gains, man. You could do a 10x even from these prices, even with how high the prices come now. If you bought here and it were to dump on you, if it's at 48,300 and it dumped on you all the way down to 36K, in a year and a half from now, you're not going to remember that dump. You're going to be glad that you bought here. You know what I mean? So, and maybe it doesn't. Maybe it just continues to go up. But at this point, I'm just going over the same old stuff that I've been going over this whole time. So if you like that video, hit that like button. Subscribe if you want to see more. Thank you all for coming. You can be wrong in this market if you do it right and still make money, right? Just be patient. Don't try to play the game with your life savings. Set yourself up. We're in pre-halving times. The price pumped 13%, some of the biggest growth we've seen since October. And it's still early. It's still a good time to get in. I would not advocate that anybody buys here. Wait for a pullback. Not financial advice, but that's my genuine opinion. But even if you did buy here, in a year and a half, you will not feel dumb about that. That's for sure. But that's all I got. Take care. Have a great day. I'll see you guys on the next one. Bye-bye.